are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters. You are listening to Stones Radio Networks, the home of the Lincoln Potters.
Stones Radio Networks presents PotterCast, the best podcast for the best summer collegiate baseball team around, your Lincoln Potters. Hosted by the one and only Mark Phantom Lowe and his sidekick. That's me, Stones McCoy. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. It's time for the PotterCast.
So I see you couldn't get anybody else to do the voiceover.
Dude, nobody...
Did you even try?
I reached out to like 800 different people, and not a single soul wants to be involved with me.
That's okay. Well, I mean,
I don't understand why.
I like what you said about the best podcast, for the team, which is true, because I think we might be the only one.
We currently are the only one.
Fantastic.
Which I like.
I am the one and only Mark the Phantom Lowe. That is Stones McCoy.
Yes. We
are here for PotterCast, the only podcast, as you just heard, about the Lincoln Potters summer wood bat collegiate summer baseball team in Lincoln and in the CCL. So
absolutely. Well said, my friend. Well said.
Actually, it was a little murky, but I'm working on that. Yeah. Last week we had episode 1, which was good chronologically. Ryan Stevens was here. We've got a super special guest that we're going to introduce in just a second.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say that we'll have one more of these shows. It'll be next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
And what happens next Thursday, Stones McCoy?
Next Thursday, I understand, might be opening day?
Yeah, just say it's the first game.
Okay, it's the first game.
It's the first game, yeah. So I think we're kind of super excited about that.
A little bit.
First game in about, I would say, about 11 months or so at the McBean Stadium.
And I've refused to talk to my best friend the last several days. I'm so excited for this.
Yes.
I've refused to talk to him.
Who's your best friend?
Have you heard from me in 3 days?
Good call right there. So the season starts next Thursday against Yuba City County Gold Sox people. 4 games against them, and then it's all going on.
So the Gold Sox.
Let's get to it. Our guest today is a guy who some might say instrumental in getting the team here since he owns it.
Instrumental?
It is Clifton Taylor, also known, Mr. Taylor, as 916 Gambler, and that's where I want to start.
The Gambler Man.
I got the feeling maybe Gambler isn't really referring to this, but, deciding to become an owner of a summer league team is kind of a gamble too, right?
It's a bit of a gamble. Definitely my Twitter handle fits my personality and some of my career path, and probably how we got involved in the Potters, and fortunately that one's working out, and it's been super exciting. I get to hang out with you guys.
Well, I wanted to kind of follow up on that. Yeah, today I would not think that's such a benefit. I wanted to follow up on that. You say when you got involved with the Potters, how exactly did you get involved with the Potters? What was the idea behind that?
So it was interesting. I was actually giving 2 members of the City of Roseville's Parks Commission a tour of a pond where they wanted to host a fishing derby. And they were
story fits right in.
And they were looking for somebody to be part of the local ownership component for a group that had approached them to be the woodbat partner in the McBean renovation. And I let them know that I might be interested, and through a chain of events, ultimately ended up being a minority owner in the team and helping a sports management company with bringing the team to town, and then ultimately, through conflicts that they had with other teams and affiliations, they had to divest themselves, and Isabel and I stepped in and took on sole ownership of the team, and have led us since that 2018 season. And there have been some challenges along the way, as you guys have seen, and
sure.
I think surprising that the receptiveness that people have had to the team, and how much Lincoln's adopted as a brand. So I think that is something that's been super impactful for Isabel and I in our lives. And then, working through COVID now, it's like we're on a mission. Like the fact that we survived, the fact that we survived as the type of business that we are, we're just like, we're all in. And we were out in Georgia, South Carolina a couple weeks ago, and we went by the Savannah Bananas Stadium.
Oh, nice.
And obviously they're one of the leaders in the woodbat space. And
yep.
I just don't feel like there's any reason why we shouldn't be held in the same accord as teams like that when people talk about the best woodbat programs in the country. And so that's really the benchmark now.
Well, that's all we're thinking about, is trying to make it the best. But when you got involved kind of through the back door, but was it what you thought it would be when you did get involved? Is it something that you walked into with your eyes open and said, this is what we think is going to happen? And did it follow that path, or was it kind of a surprise when you actually got knee deep in it?
100% different. 1,000% different.
So what
was the expectation then?
Well, I think we went in with the expectation that we were going to be these figureheads that helped create the Potters as a local brand that had local values and connections to local businesses and the right partnerships that would ingratiate ourselves in the community, and that we would have a role that was more of an ambassador of baseball. And we were really thrust into needing to run the business on a day-to-day basis.
It's a hands-on enterprise,
while
right?
we essentially had two other businesses. When we took over ownership, 100% ownership was 30 days after I left my company that I had been at for 15 years and decided to start my own business.
Wow.
And Isabel had obviously been self-employed, and so it wasn't an opportune time, but it was, I think the right time for us to focus on it, and it's been a great run. We have the partnerships we have with the people like yourselves, with Ryan Stevens, with our GM Matt. I mean, Matt's the hardest working guy in our organization. I just can't believe what he gets done on a day in, day out basis. And and then just the volunteers, that we have, the Chris Wyatts, the Ray Garcias, the Michelle Eskridges that help the host families, all of that stuff is just like,
got to applaud those
I
folks.
never would have thought that people would rally that hard to pull this thing off. And, we see people working hard to support what we're putting into it every day. And that's just probably the most rewarding thing.
Well, it's exactly that. That's kind of the way that I've experienced too. When we've experienced it, is that everybody is pulling together. But when you got into it, and it was kind of not what you thought you were going to be. Oh, hey, look, I'm the ambassador of baseball here, and no, I have to go get things done. At what point did Matt come into that? Because I have to think that maybe that was the key thing that you did in the beginning, is bring him in. He has so much experience and stuff. We're going to talk to him next week and get his side of the story, so watch out. But what was the? How did you find him? And was something that as soon as you did it, you knew it was the right thing to do?
Yeah, I think Bill, our partner, had reached out to Matt and understood his experience in baseball, and that he would be approachable to make a move and would be a good fit. And it was clear he was from early on. I think, but Matt had been working with organizations that had been established for a while. And I think where we had to bring to the table was the startup culture around actually getting an enterprise going in the state of California, getting an alcohol license, getting a business license, getting corporate documents and things put together, getting our insurance underwritten, and all of the. So
you mean it's not just playing on the field?
It's not just playing on the field.
Okay.
You don't just show up and throw the ball out there.
I didn't know that.
It turned, and so it was interesting. Like, so I was engaged in all of that, and not really as focused on the team and the brand necessarily, and some of the stuff leading up to the first season. And I showed up in Marysville for opening night. And I just got the sense that, like, I didn't put all this energy in this to lose. Like, I want to win.
So that's when the competitive part kicked in. I did all the work. Let's go.
And I'm really proud of the teams that we've had, and the group, what we've put forth. I think Ryan is doing each year it just builds, and I think you're seeing really his leadership show up, and the team that he has supporting him, Cody, JP, Scott, all the folks that, and our trainer, Emma, like we've really created continuity around that execution.
And good people.
Continuity matters in business. I mean, that's the one thing that Isabel and I've learned, is continuity is super impactful in business. And so creating that at the coaching level, at the management level with you guys, the volunteers, like just you can harness it and create so much more momentum, and that
it'll take you.
Yeah,
so it'll take you places, man.
When you started, correct me if I'm wrong in my assumption here, you occupied a position in the company as far as the Potters are concerned, and then Isabel did a different job, and then you guys kind of switched about 2 years ago. And it may be my I may be just seeing this in my own mind, but it seems like you've been a little bit looser since you swapped positions, and she has taken over the president, and you've taken over a different part. Is that just, am I dreaming that, or is that kind of the way it's happened?
That's kind of the way it's happened. I think,
good for you.
Not to get too much into our personal life, but Isabel's been an economic consultant and a successful one with her own business for a long time, and we've had the Potters, and we've had Taylor Builders, and we've had other interests, and so she has kind of had a purposeful wind down of her consulting business, just because it's so challenging to have a business that bills hours and has those client demands with all the other things we have.
Yeah.
And so I think she's actually completing that wind down right basically in the next 6 weeks, where she's let her clients know, with almost 6 months notice and kind of purposeful plan. And so I think, part of our overall strategy is to have her in positions now that she has time to really help
Absolutely.
us thrive. And she is really good at, a lot of the leadership tasks that we need in executing our organization and dealing with the details that go with being an employer in the state of California and coordinating on things like that. And so I think we're just trying to position ourselves both to be in roles where we can succeed. I've, always dealt with the financial elements of the business. And so my role of moving into secretary and CFO seemed like a better fit. And no looking back.
Well, I mean, I don't want this to seem wrong, but I mean, the other thing about her, she's scary. She scares us. Stones and
She
I have
don't
talked
scare
about.
me.
We've talked about this. We could talk you into anything. We know that,
She
but
scares
she would
you.
just put her foot down on us and it would stop us in our tracks. Now, Stone says I'm not supposed to ask you this, but
Yes.
there are some things with the Potters that just signify to me that baseball is here. Willie doing the announcement of the lineups, and Ryan coming out to do the handing it off to the umpire and throwing the first pitch. One of my favorite things, as I say this, I shouldn't, is sitting up in the booth and watching you walk back and forth behind the backstop with the beer in your hand, looking like the happiest man in the world. Yeah. And it just I see that and I'm like, baseball is here.
I didn't sanction that.
No,
question.
he didn't. But my point is being at the ballpark that much fun for you all the time? Because it seems like it is, and I know your family is there many nights, and it seems like you guys are having a great time.
Yeah, I think that was really the unknown when we first got engaged in the team, was how our lives would adapt with it, and whether, I don't think we had any expectation our kids would fall in love with being at the park,
right,
and would want to just rally around there and hit the kids zone. And
they love it so
play,
much.
Batgirl and go out and do the games and run around and realize that they're the owner's kids and can get anybody, give them any soda they want.
That's a great feeling when you figure that out.
So when they really just latched in, then I think it became a family thing, not just this business thing that we were going to have to manage. And so that kind of was I'd say a pivot point for just it becoming kind of therapeutic. The Potters are part of Visible and I's personal brand around the community, shows our commitment and investment in being what I always consider myself to be a community-based investor. I don't invest in the stock market, although I was thinking you guys were inviting me here to go full Elon Musk. We were going to get high, and I was going to pump my crypto. I got a coin that I got to punch out.
I called it.
Else.
I was going to, but I called it dog coin.
Yeah.
And I know that's not right, and so I figured maybe I was in a little over my head.
I also didn't pitch the other show that I was going to do after this one.
That's fine. You guys can do your own show.
Because he might not get off this couch.
And so I think just now it's just. It's something the four of us look forward to, and our kids. I mean, they talk about their first job being working for the Potters in the kids' zone.
How great is that?
They're literally 3 years too young to work yet legally, and
they're already ready.
That's all right. Good. That's good labor for you.
So, the fact that he can create that type of bond with our family has been super incredible. And then I just, again, seeing everybody around the stadium, it's just kind of therapy for me. It's an awesome way to wind down after. Other business stuff, and so it's been.
Well, you're not just working in doing Potters. I mean, you have a regular full-time job that you do. Is that correct?
That's correct. We've got one of the fastest growing development companies in the Sacramento region, and have expanded rapidly over the 3 years since we took on full ownership of the team. We've building close to 2,000 home sites right now across
Congratulations, man.
Placer County, Sacramento County, and out into Solano County and San Joaquin County, and then building some luxury housing up at the North Star Ski Resort.
Very cool.
And it's been exciting. So, that business has been very strong, which has taken some of the stress out of the Potters through COVID, although I'll say, because of having that business infrastructure and resources, we've act like a real company.
Yes.
And
helps keep you going.
And so that's obviously what those programs were there for, is for things like this to come back as kind of the heartbeat of the recovery. And I think what we've just seen as we've been out and about in town is everybody's itching to get out. I think there's something about being outside that just feels a little safer right now. and with the way that they treat the
Carry the
something,
cold mine a
or
little
something
bit, yeah.
local, and bring their wives and bring their friends.
We talked to Ryan last week, and I asked him about last year a little bit, obviously from his standpoint, from the dugout, and we kind of agreed that the word we would use to describe it was kind of grateful, because we're grateful that we got to play. But obviously you have kind of a different perspective on it. So what would be the way that you would describe it last year, if you had one word that could describe it?
Yeah, I'm grateful we got to have a season. I think that's a good word. I think it was super important for Isabel and I to show our resiliency. Like, it just felt like giving up was just too flimsy. And I think the public can kind of look at things like the Potters as not understand how important they are to the community, but also how difficult they are.
Yeah, a little disposable, maybe.
And, and so we just took a lot of pride in trying to fight through and not give up. There are a lot of people that facing challenges, and we were in a position to be able to fight through and try to do something. And a lot of people at stake, a lot of people trying to employ, a lot of people trying to give experience in baseball, coaches, and we're super thankful for the season we got. Banging the season at the end, just the way the timing worked out, was probably one of the hardest things we've ever done.
Right.
Tough call, man.
And looking back, there was no other solution. Like, we just didn't have any way out. And so I can say that, it's easier to stomach today, but in the moment it was, it's really harsh. The organization really reflects the blood, sweat, and tears of a lot of us, you guys, you guys included. And so, and we got guys out there just Rick did that by fighting through.
I think we did. Well, to go with the over there, guys that just stood out to you, and it doesn't have to be for the playing part, it can be for the personality part. We asked Ryan the same thing. He came up with a couple guys and told a couple stories, and we all smiled about it.
Like the Garcia boys, one of the most respectful guys, hardworking kid. And then you see him out there just hammering the ball.
400 footers!
110 mile, 115 mile exit speed off the bat, and I don't even know what that means, but I know he puts him on the top of the list, and
it's very good.
And you see a guy like Susak, who is literally playing at the top of level of baseball, and to know that the program trusted him to come here and train with us and help develop his career. That's going to be
got to mean a lot.
I think who's the kid? Is it Keyshawn?
Keyshawn
Ogans, yeah.
Son of NorCal, and he's obviously a hardworking player, making some tremendous plays in the field, and so there's guys out there that's just fun, fun to see. I think. Rad Thomas always has a special spot because
he's a special kind of kid. Yes, and I mean that in every aspect.
I think we added a team member where Nolan Murphy now is a
excited about that.
And it's exciting to kind of bring someone in, and he's a guy that's getting his MBA. And is going to be able to work with us, and I think really our goal is for him to learn some of the boots on the ground things, and then be a growth person within our organization overall, and support Matt and us be able to take things to the next level, get them some additional support. Obviously,
what's
weird
what's weird is that I didn't recognize Nolan in regular clothes last year at the park. I went, wait, I know that face, and then I realized that's Nolan. So Nolan went from a player into a position in the organization to try to further his career. The respect and the way you guys have always embraced the players and the people that have come into this organization is got to be one of the things that really makes you guys feel good at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it makes us feel good, but it's also just how you create momentum. People seeing you reinvest in people that come through the organization. Like, when we first talked about it, it just became a no-brainer where we're like, yeah, we got to make that happen, because everybody's going to see us taking someone that's invested their time with us, made that commitment, is obviously in a position to have a mutually advantageous thing for our company and their career. And so we just have to make it happen. I mean, it'd be easy to go out and hire somebody else and bring them in, but, I think when people see that type of commitment, it just feeds off itself.
That's community, man. That's community.
All this talk of all these classic Potters make me, I want to push my agenda,
Okay.
my Wall of Fame agenda that I'm coming up with this year. I'm really trying to get that to happen. So we'll have talks about it later. But Clifton Taylor, you've been fantastic so far. So now we're going to go back into your backyard. We're going to say, okay, my tease was a perfect day at the park versus a perfect day at the track. And I think it's time to go to the track with you. Baseball, not your only pursuit outside of work. Tell us how you got into horse racing and, what position you occupy in horse racing. And I saw your message to Stones. You're talking about all these horses and different races and stuff. So you're really entrenched in it. So how did it get going, and what are you up to?
I mean, this is a little shameful, but I was a young guy in my early 20s and was looking for something to do to impress a girl on a weekend. And some of the older guys from a different generation told me, take her to the track. Everybody loves the turf club.
You were going to say buy a
Oh,
horse.
wow. Okay. All right.
You bought her a horse on the
and
weekend.
so we went down to Bay Meadows, and she was awful. It was, dating. It was a bad dating decision, but
Sounds like fun though.
but turned into a great hobby. And so, actually, then Isabel and I started dating not that long after that, and her mom lived not that far from Bay Meadows in Menlo Park. And so, a couple times when they would be off doing things, I went over the track and kicked around, learned a bit about it, and then decided I wanted to get into kind of thoroughbred ownership, owning some fractional interest in horses. And so fast forward 12, 14 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's been a while.
And, that would have been 2006, 2007.
Okay.
We've been involved in a lot of different horses. We were fortunate enough to buy into a horse that had come off an injury and ended up winning 14 races, and was a very successful mare that we're involved in the breeding of now, and
Very nice.
named Appealing Resume, and she won at Del Mar on Isabel's birthday, and we were there.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't get much better than
Doesn't
that.
get much better than that
No,
when they come
it
and give
doesn't.
your wife the flowers,
Yeah.
and you go to the bourbon, the Woodford Reserve
Yeah.
bourbon room, and
Oh, yes.
chill, and then went out and had a seafood tower after on the money that I'd made, because I think I put 100 down and she went off at 11-1 or something.
Nice.
And so, those type of moments lure you in. And so, we've had some business success, and in the last couple of years have decided to kind of reinvigorate our partnership with a trainer, Ed Moger, who trains out of Golden Gate in Southern California.
Yep.
Super reputable guy on the thoroughbred board here in California. And so he has a farm down in Galt, and we're involved in a couple of horses that are racing or getting ready to race. And it's fun,
Are you still fractional owners, or are you
Yeah, so-
are you whole owners now,
between
or just a bigger fraction?
Yeah, between 25 and 75%, and
Wow.
a handful of animals, and so we'll see. So you're
going to be at the track
my
and the
favorite-
ball yard
My
this
favorite,
year.
Yeah.
my favorite marketing pitch is the Three Chimneys Racing Company, who their tagline for sales is "No one's ever lost their voice yelling at a mutual fund."
True. Very true.
I don't know. You might not. You haven't met my wife. She'll yell at any inanimate piece of paper.
All right. Well, that sound. I mean, I guess baseball and horse racing not that too separated and stuff. But
No, but I mean, this summer, so I remember, I believe it was last year, you had gone to a couple of races and to the yard relatively in the same,
Sure.
stretch of, so are you going to be doing that again this summer?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have any active runners during baseball season. It'll be kind of close to see if the one of the horses we have coming up this year is ready to go. But baseball is going to get most of our focus.
And lastly on horse racing, unless you have
no,
something
go
else.
ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so we have the Belmont.
Yep.
Okay. We've ran 2 of the 3 legs of the Triple Crown. And Medina Spirit will not be in the Belmont as of right now. You, the betting man, and I know because you were involved in the Preakness, I know for a fact. I don't know. I didn't ask you about your Kentucky Derby yet. Were you? Well, you don't have to tell
I
us.
was alive to a couple horses in the Derby
Okay.
on a kind of a multi-race wager, and it didn't hit.
Okay,
It was
all right.
disappointing because it would have been a good payout.
I didn't want to pin you down on Kentucky, but so now we're now into the Belmont. What do you got for us? You have any insider tips? I mean, it's running on Saturday. You've got
So we're a horse racing show too. now.
We've got Potter's Nation listening. I mean, you want to help out the local community. feed them a couple of tips here. What's going on for
I'll
the
have to see
Belmont?
the entries. I don't. My expectation is Rombauer probably doesn't get the two. He's a lighter-bodied horse,
And he just won.
The reason I picked that horse in the Preakness was Golden Gate Fields has a Derby prep called the El Camino Real that actually gets you points for the Derby, and he won that. But it's run on Tapeta surface, fake turf or fake dirt versus real dirt. And so horses don't always do great on the dirt, but it's a win and you're in for the Preakness. So if you win that race, you get automatic entry into the Preakness. And so the owner and the trainer decided to skip the Derby, even though they had the points to get in, and focus on that race. And I was just like, I like that purposeful move. Like, they were there for a purpose. They knew they were attacking that spot. And I thought the horses, with all the controversy and all the other stuff, there's karma, there's some suspect, timing of coming back. These animals, need their rest and
Totally.
and the 2 week turns quick. And so took my shot and cashed. And so that was nice, but I don't know that I would peg him as a horse that takes the Belmont. I think maybe we'll see, a surprise runner. I don't mind that Rock Your World horse.
Rock Your World.
I think he got a bad start at the Derby, and in a 20-horse field, you just can't afford, a bad start. And all those horses were on the front end that won. And so, I could see a horse like that skipped and comes back with a solid trainer and solid jockey competing.
Not exactly sure, but I think that was a 20-1.
Yeah.
I think that one was a 20-1. But the one that hit at the Preakness, that was a 14-1. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was 11.
Was it 11?
Yeah.
Final cleared at 11. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's great. I love horse racing. I also grew up with a dad who took me to Cal Expo because we lived here locally, and I went to every race that he ever wanted to go to. So I really enjoy it. So I've watched all these races. I don't talk a lot about it with you because if you look over, I mean, he's got a confused look on his face. Like
that's right.
We're talking alienese.
I went to horse races before you were born. Okay, so let's don't get involved.
We're talking about chariot races.
Okay,
dude.
well, they had horses. Okay,
right.
Well played, my friend.
All right.
Ben-Hur in the fifth. Okay, you've survived the intensive interview portion of our show, Clifton. So now we're going to move on to our next thing, which we call Old Potter and New Potter.
Oh, yeah?
We're going to start with the Old Potters, and this is where we try to catch up with, some of the people that have played for the Potters in the past, and people may know and go, hey, I wonder what's happening with that guy. This first guy, I don't think it's too much of a mystery what's happening with him.
Well, no, it's not a mystery, but I'm going to play the bump for
Check out these highlights from our Forever Potters.
So I just called them Forever Potters.
Oh, that makes it sound like a Hallmark show.
Yeah, I
that's
had no
okay.
idea. But the first guy, I mean, if you don't know, I'm sorry.
And Restant delivers, and Daniel Susak with a big drive over to left field. There's a high drive, and that ball is gone. Big number 31, Daniel Susak. Last game of the season, decides to put one over the left field fence, and there was no doubt about that one.
Very nice. Daniel Susak, and he did it in the Stone sixth inning.
He did.
So that is very nice.
And you pulled that highlight, so I
did.
can't
I
say
had
that I
to
did
say,
that for myself.
Clifton, Daniel Susak played with the Potters 2 years ago. I think he was still in high school. And we thought, well, this is a great treat for us to get to see him since he had to sandwich it in between going to Wrigley Field and playing in the All-Star games and stuff.
And
then somehow we got him back last year, and it was like heaven had opened up to have him back. Just a great feeling, a great kid, obviously a great player, but, you're watching that, and that's a big feather in the cap for the Potters, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, for them to trust our program with a player of his caliber, is definitely identifies that we're operating at the right level for, what we want to accomplish in baseball. And the kid's incredible. I mean, one, he's a nice kid, shows up, works hard, great attitude, supports his teammates, and he goes out there and just rakes. And I mean, the thing that's underrated about him is how many kids he throws out with his arm. I mean, just do not run against Daniel Susak.
Yeah, you don't even have to look up his stats. You can see him on Twitter because his home runs and throwing people out. And we were talking with Ryan last year, and you mentioned the Garcia brothers. I felt like Isaiah was maybe the first D1 player that played for the Potters and kind of showed other kids, hey, this is a place you can go if you're at this level. And I think Daniel's the guy, the next level guy. He's a guy that even is going, and no offense at all to Isaiah, but he's a guy that's going, he's going far. and he came back, not just once, but came back to play with the Potters. And that legitimizes us in a way I think not a lot of people could. And so it's a tribute to everybody, but I think it's maybe mostly a tribute to Ryan Stevens.
Yeah, I mean, I think Isaiah set a great tone coming in the first year, and he's the type of guy that just leads by what he does with his bat and working hard, and led the league in hitting that year and played incredible, and then went off and obviously is, at D1 playing great.
Yeah.
And then, you've seen the progression of having a couple kids drafted mid-rounds, and Derek Molina was brought in because of his relationship with Isaiah. They were buddies. They'd played together, and that was how we tied it in. And obviously he's, tremendous player and is still out there doing it, and hopefully he gets an opportunity to play in the show at some point. But then you see a kid like Susak that comes in and, might go in the first round at some point.
And we all share that kind of,
might not go in the first round, might go the first pick. You just don't even know. I mean, the guy's just blasting the ball and throwing people out. And I think, coming from a family that has professional athletes in competition, like, he knows how to train. And that's part of it for these kids is, like, learning how to train. And I think that's one of the, stalwart things that we bring is that Ryan really puts together a program with our team and with Emma of having that routine of taking care of yourself and trying to, emulate, how these kids get treated at the highest levels of college, and then how they get treated as they move.
You've got Ryan, and he's been around that his whole life, and I think you said it right. A lot of it's got to be attributable to Ryan Stevens and what he's got, and the staff, obviously, that he built around him. But absolutely, he's been around it his whole life. So setting these guys up to make it more like the next level is it's so important. And then to have a guy like Daniel Susak, it brings me joy. It brings me so much joy.
But he's not the only all-timer we've got today.
No. We've got another
kid who came out of Bear River High School and just showed up and just keep coming back. And I don't know that he started hitting the first time we saw him. I don't think he stopped.
Well, this is going to be right when he started hitting. How's that?
And now we're ready to go. Harrison looks over at Debrek, who gets another good lead. Here's the pitch to the plate. Lopez swings and lines one out to left field. Going back is Jones. He looks up. That ball is over the fence. A home run for Matt Lopez. That'll show him.
That'll show him.
I was angry right there.
Hold on. Let you finish your call.
All right. A 1-2 pitch, and Matt Lopez just reached out and steered that one to left field, and it just kept on going. Potters now lead it 6-2.
There you go.
I love the home runs. I love Matt Lopez. He's been on. I think he played 3 years for the Potters. Like I said, out of Bear River. Memories of Matt Lopez.
Another nice kid, always smiling, always checking in, saying hi, showing respect, and. He just sometimes he'd find that streaky zone where he didn't really want to pitch to him. And that's what you want to see. At the end of the day, people love seeing the ball go over the fence.
Oh, he put a charge into the crowd, man.
Yeah, the great thing about that one, too, remember, Stones, is Matt Lopez, like Rad and a couple other guys, were guys who were unsigned when they came the summer they were playing. And off of his play, he went to Washington State, and then later, now he's at Cal Poly. And I hadn't heard much about him, so I just looked it up. He's only leading the team in hitting at like 347 or something like that, which surprises nobody because of how good he is.
Just doing his thing.
But it's like what Clifton was saying. You're looking around, and there's Potters raking everywhere. I mean, there's just, D1 all over the place, all over California. But, Zach Arnold is at LSU, and, we've got kids all over the place.
And every year it's going to get more and more.
Back at
what about Lavalley right now? I mean, he's just
pitching like crazy,
throwing the ball
unbelievable.
So those are a couple of old Potters, but we wanted to talk also, Clifton, while you're here, about new Potters, guys that will be on the team this year, and we thought we'd make it a little easier for you. And we picked a couple of guys who are returning. And do we have the pitcher first, Stones?
Let's go with the pitcher first.
This is the guy who was, I think, the Potters pitcher of the year last year. He's coming back this year.
Here are some highlights from our future Forever Potters.
Top of the second, Jack Horn back out for a second inning. Kind of different than his first inning because now he has a 4-0 lead. Full count for Jack Horn. Left-hander, 6'2", out of Tacoma, Washington. Swing and a miss at a high fastball. He helped him out there. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. So Jack Horn rolling with his second strikeout in a row and 4th overall. And here's Nate Ade. That is on the outside corner, call strike 3. So great inning for Jack Horn. He struck out 5 of 6.
That's 5 of 6 and the inning. I mean, he struck out the side.
So nice to have a guy like that coming back, your pitcher of the year.
Yeah, I mean, excited to have him coming back. You like, a kid, left-hander, 6'2", comes with some intimidation, hits his spots and strikes people out. That's what you want. You want to put the other side down, not let him get a chance to put the ball in the bat. And he's really, I think he could have a really special summer for us.
And it was interesting last year, I think, Stones, we've talked about this many times, and I think Ryan agreed with this. I think the Potters had their best pitching staff, their deepest pitching staff last year ready to go, and the fact they didn't get to show it was kind of obviously frustrating down the list of things that were frustrating, but still, it felt like you'd put a team together, and from what Ryan was saying, maybe a better team put together this year and a deeper pitching staff. So eager to see Jack return to the action. Also eager to see this next guy who I feel like if there was a greatest base runner in Potter's history, it would be this guy, because I don't know if you've ever seen, it's Trey Furry. And what he does is he gets on first and then just starts walking to second and drives people crazy.
You can't get him out.
The right-hander facing the right-hander Furry, who adopts that wide open stance. Swinging a line drive, fair ball down the left field line. Susak will score easily. Coming around is Patterson. He is going to stop at third. It's an RBI double for Furry, and the Potters close the gap to 6-4. Furry also, I don't remember the name of the award he won last year, but I know he won one, and having him back, and he's another one of these guys, played at Folsom Lake College, and his play with the Potters is going to make his opportunities in college much broader.
Sure, and I mean that's really what it's about for us, is we're trying to help out with the progression of baseball, whether it's a high school kid trying to get that opportunity, or JC kid trying to go to D1, or the D1 kid trying to get noticed and go to the show. We're about progression, and I think Ryan has done a great job of bringing in kids that can contribute to the team in a meaningful way with good attitude, that are at different spots in their progression of baseball. I think he's really figured out how much pitching we need to get through a season with inning restrictions and other factors that we have to do. And so a lot of credit, just tremendous amount of credit to Ryan. Like, we had good guys come in the first year to help us coach, a little bit more cowboyish, kind of, coming into town to party a little bit like the kids did. And, Ryan's in town, rooted in town. A lot of relationships, grown his family here, and so he's just set a whole nother tone. And I think everybody from him down has fed off of that leadership, and couldn't be prouder of the team that he's put together. And Trey will be excited to see. I mean, another thing, like, people love watching good base running and people that can get it done and legging it out and stolen bases, and that's what he brings. And does he still have the long hair?
I haven't
seen him,
but if he's not, he's not welcome back.
Yeah, the girls seem to like that.
The girls love the long.
He's the total package, all right.
And so, exciting. Love seeing the kids come back. I think that's kind of a stamp of approval for us, as the people that want to come back, especially the ones. He's obviously a local kid, and so probably staying with his family. But when we get the out of town kids that want to come back and stay with their host family and really be part of it, where it takes some commitment to get out of wherever they're at and move. Like, that's where you realize, like, they're here purposefully, and we're providing them an opportunity to work their craft.
You talked a couple of times about that's our process, that's what we're trying to do here, like you're on top of it pretty much. But if you can think back to the first year, how much better do you understand all that now than you did then, as far as the process that you've gone through to develop players and develop a culture and develop continuity and stuff? But when you were walking into the team, how much did you know then as opposed to what you know now?
I guess the things that I knew that I didn't rely, were there. I just didn't know how they'd apply to baseball.
Okay.
I think, really what I've learned is there's just some common principles for success, and that's, surrounding yourself with smart people that you don't have to micromanage and that do their, jobs. And so, Matt is tremendous hard worker, gets an incredible amount done with small staff, puts the stadium together in short order. But then Ryan, just with some general support and seeing a reciprocal commitment of how we would engage with him, has just taken it to the next level. And you guys are part of that. Like, just empowering people, it turns out is, really like the critical element. And I guess I didn't really understand going in, like how, where my opportunity would be to influence that. I think like one thing with Ryan is, he said, listen, like, we're fine to do, this travel schedule and this thing. We know, it's tough with costs and everything, but like if my guys are dragging and we really need a series or there's some emotional I count on you to pick up some room nights, or we do this for transportation, something. I'm like, if you need to make that call, you make that call. And, he's really judicious about it. But,
that's cool.
There's that time if, you really need that punch and the kids need to see you, showing that investment in them, like to give it to them is really important, folks at that stage of their career. And so having that type of relationship, and I think, I'm proud to create a receptiveness where we can have that dialogue. And I wish I could tell you I was way more in the weeds on all these players and everything,
that's
but I really rely upon Matt and Ryan and Ray and the team that and Cody and JP and Scott, all of them have a piece of it, but they really put their heart and soul into it.
Well, you talked earlier about going to Savannah and checking out what you consider to be one of the top programs. And how far do you think Lincoln Potters have to go to get to that level? And the thing I like about the Potters is it's not just one thing. We're trying to lift everything. We have productions and announcing and radio, and we have on the field and ownership and interns and vendors and everything. You try to lift up everybody, so not just one part of it, but all of it to make it better. So how far? What's the margin you see there? How close are we to getting up to that level?
I think we're pretty close. I think in 2 years we're going to be regarded as one of the best places to play summer ball in the country.
And that just gives me a chill. That gives me a chill.
And I think part of it, part of it's the investment that's been made by a lot of people, a lot of hard work, the energy that we have here, and part of it's a little bit of ego of some of those people, and a little bit of my ego and Isabel's ego around, that's achievable. And that would be really impactful, and we're going to go for it, and I think Lincoln's going to reciprocate it, and I think the quality of the kids you see on our roster this year is a reflection that it's already in motion. That's I don't know if Matt will shoot me for saying this or not, but I mean, there was serious discussion in the off season about us going and playing the Cuban national team and the Cuban junior national team in Cuba.
Wow.
The wife wouldn't let me go, I don't think.
I'll find a way.
I think trips like that in the future, I mean, we've talked about it like, as we get through this kind of last year that was financially challenging and work through stuff, going up and playing in the Midnight Sun League in Alaska, maybe going out and playing the Bananas down there. We're doing home and homes with Humboldt and the Blues and some of these marquee teams and the Foresters. But, we want to put the best program out there, and we want to take our show on the road a little bit each year and show, kind of like the Seattle Studs coming in as a top team. It'll be interesting to see how we stack up with them.
A lot of great names on the schedule this year.
Yeah, and so, that's really the goal. I mean, it's to the moon. Okay,
the last thing I'm going to ask you, and I forgot to ask you this before. I asked you about, I think this will be easier than trying to pick players and stuff. I can't believe I'm asking. What are your favorite in-game promotions? And if you don't say Jeremiah the Juggler, then I don't think we can be friends.
I knew this question was coming.
He's the guy overseeing it all.
I know.
If he wants to have the knights fighting each other every night, they can do that.
Okay, but this is not the platform for you to make the pitch for Jeremiah the Juggler to come back.
You're right there.
Was Jeremiah the Juggler the guy with the chainsaws or the fire sticks?
The fire sticks.
I think he did both, but his only problem was
it's the throw zone. You have it on the end of your little box there.
Oh, okay.
There's little stickers. It's the throw zone. It's his favorite guy.
He didn't realize that it was between innings, and he's doing his 35-minute
spiel.
He's like, "Hey, dude, get out of the way! Your chainsaw just killed the pitcher. Come on, But I mean, that's as I said, you lift up all parts of the production, and that's, I think, a fun part, especially obviously for the people there. That's a fun thing. You've got to have some that have over the year. You go, I kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little morbid, but the guys, the medieval fighting club,
the morbid. I knew you were going to say that.
Came out and just slayed each other with axes and swords to Metallica and speed metal in the background was, I mean, just kind of off the charts.
Did you really feel like asking them, do you guys really hate each other?
Well, it was just
they
funny
just
like,
destroyed each other.
I mean, I went and looked at them afterwards, and they're, it's 100 degrees out, and they're over there, and they're just profusely sweating. Like,
Well,
like,
yes,
I'm
of
just
course they are.
destroyed.
2 pounds an hour, man.
So that guy, those guys are incredible. The guy that juggled the chainsaws, I mean, like, so many people were hiding their eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it just felt
Yeah.
like freak showish.
Yeah.
And the fact that we pulled that off.
Fire Sticks is a little better to watch,
yeah,
I think. Yeah.
And so, there've been a lot of great ones. The fireworks nights are always special.
They are, yeah.
Just because so many people are pumped for them. Although it seems like we're always dealing with the curfew issues on those nights for whatever reason, and that's
Because
just
the game
nature
goes
of it,
long, because the
Yeah.
game is important.
Yeah.
There's going to be
But,
another one this year, too, that you might really enjoy. In between innings, they're going to have an air guitar contest. I'm not breaking news here. I'm just reading off the website.
No, that's fine.
This is going to
I
be
like that.
yeah. So I mean, this could actually turn into a pretty good one. They're going to pick a song. They're going to have 2 people out there, and they're going to air guitar battle, and then the crowd's going to pick the
All
winner.
right, you
I
better
like it.
practice your announcing
looking
because you're going to be
forward to this.
announcing. You're
I'm
going to be
looking forward
announcing
to
that.
this one.
That's fantastic. That's pretty good. And also, one of the things I like, it's kind of a small town touch, but the people who sing the national anthem. Now, I don't know if you're in charge of that, but I want to get the word out to people to go ahead and apply for that or whatever they need to do. We need to get a wide variety of people. I think we have some people who come back, which I love, but I want to get some new talent out there. So do they just call the office and say I want to do that? How do they get involved with that? Is that probably not your job, but still?
Yeah, I wish I knew the exact answer. I think sometimes we afford like our major groups and sponsors that have their group nights an opportunity if they have someone that represents their
Okay.
group to participate. We try to target a few, choir clubs and stuff more because mom gets in for free to bring little Susie and Johnny, but grandma has to pay for a ticket to get in, and it's not a bad way to get a couple more people in on shamelessly on a Tuesday.
Very nice, yeah.
Hey man, this is a business, guys.
It's a business,
And,
okay? He's a businessman.
And then I think on a few of the games we target specific people that we've got relationships. But I'm certain we're always remember Megan, our rock star
Yes.
intern. We had to have her. She pinch hit a couple of times and just knocked it out. And because
Fantastic.
we're looking for people, and so I'm certain.
I mean, my son did it one year.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah, I
interested,
didn't want to mention it.
I know.
if you're interested, know somebody out there that's interested, they should get in touch with.
Just trying to
in
get
touch with
more
Matt.
people involved.
Call the office.
I'll
Just
do
call. Just have them call the office
916-209-3444.
or LincolnPotters.com, man. You can just
Fantastic.
hit people
That's
up there.
That's where you get all the info. Clifton, thank you so much for dropping by here. We really appreciate you coming in and sharing like a long time with us. So fantastic. Looking forward to a week from Thursday. Game 1 against Yuba County, Sutter, whatever they are. Big 4-game series. It's another dangerous thing to ask. Do you know what the ticket situation is? Are there still tickets that people can get for that game? And do you know how many people will be allowed into that game?
I don't know the official availability. I assume there's still tickets available for opening night.
Okay.
The state policies for us are that we get 50% attendance until June 15th.
Wow,
Okay.
great.
And so
that is
for
a good
us,
number.
That's fantastic.
For us, that falls somewhere around 625 people, I think. And then
Great.
after June 15th, because we have under 5,000 total people, we can go to full attendance.
Fantastic.
I think we actually probably will decided that we aren't going to allow kind of our full sellout just for comfort reasons.
Sure.
You got to be careful.
And and I think looking forward to a great season. Just it's exciting. I think.
Yeah, check the website or check, like I say, 916-209-3444. Find some single game tickets. This is great. I didn't know that it was 50%, so that is actually great news. Thank you so much, Clifton. Thank you very much. Clifton Taylor, our guest on episode 2 of PotterCast, the podcast devoted entirely to the Lincoln Potters. We're back next week with Matt Lundgren, and we're 2 days before opening day next week, so look forward to a fantastic show. Thank you, Stones McCoy.
You bet.
Thank you again, Clifton. We will talk to you next week on PotterCast.
I just want to mention out there regarding the Seattle Stud Series that I'm only going to catch one game. Playing in the Judge Schmales Memorial Invitational Golf Tournament in Lake Tahoe, and as a former winner, I have a lifetime exemption and have to make the journey up there to defend that champion with my brother-in-law, who's affectionately referred to as the Chechen Chilean in the underworld, and so looking forward to that. But other than that, you'll see me at the ballpark most games.
Thank you, Clifton. How about a fresca?